Why we should destigmatize the N-word, The Big Bang Theory comes to an end, ASEA Argento gets Me Too'd, Nintendo cracks down on ROM sites, I tell you about seeing Jay Leno live in concerts, and in a Patreon exclusive, I tell you about the Billionaires Boys Club bombing at the box office, as well as what we'll refer to as the Molly Tibbetts situation, because I know damn sure YouTube will demonetize this right away if I so much as mention what happened to her. I've got a lot to complain about, so let's do this.
The recently canceled podcast with Lawn Fry.
Hey, how goes it? Well, what has been happening in my life lately? You know, I mentioned that I had some relatives passing by, taking my youngest cousin up to Montana State, where she is to do college studies, you know, that kind of thing. While she's here, I'm showing her off some Super Nintendo classics, you know, bringing out the classics, right? She was really not too amused. No, it was, what am I looking at during Mario Kart? I can't tell, why is the road completely flat? There's no bumps or hills or anything, or terrain, really. Show her some side-scrollers. She was like, oh, Castlevania. Like that Netflix series. And then I had to explain why that series sucked. And yeah, that was a lot of that. And then she would say things like, you know, we're driving up to Montana to go to college. I'm not really so sure if college is right for me. And then I had to go into quickly change the conversation mode because nobody wanted me to tell her, oh, hey, look at me. I graduated and I've been unemployed for 15 years. Nobody wanted Vaughn to say that. I'm sipping on some Dr. Pepper from Wendy's right now. Yeah, that was beautiful. And then while they were here, we had some tickets, my folks and I, to go see Jay Leno. He came to the Kansas Star Casino. This is a state-ran casino in Kansas. Not quite in Wichita. No, Wichita didn't want a piece of the casino action, so they scuttled that off to, Mulvane? It's about 5-minute drive from where I'm at, but it's a bit messed up because Mulvane gets all these benefits from having the casino. Oh, but nobody young wants to go out there because there's not shit around it. Yeah, there's a casino, event center, whatever. There's not a lot of clubs. There's not a lot of bars. There's nothing accentuating the, hey, there's a casino just off the interstate. There's none of that shit. Jay Leno was out there and he was serviceable. He did what you wanted him to do. It was maybe an hour of Tonight Show style monologue. A lot of, oh, Hugh Hefner's in the news, died 9 months ago. You know, some of the stuff he's kind of had chambered for a while. But imagine the Tonight Show monologue with Jay Leno, but with topics that were not quite brand new topical stuff. He would talk about Catholic Church in trouble. Yeah, this guy married one of his partitioners, or I don't know what the lingo is. And it's like, wait a minute, I thought they were in trouble lately because of this whole Pittsburgh sex scandal, right? You know, they have like a massive pedophilia ring type thing going, protecting them. Didn't bring that up. You know, if it wasn't for me being so ensconced with his style from watching The Tonight Show for a number of years and knowing where he was going with these things. He'd mentioned cats. He said, anybody here have more than 2 cats? And then some lady raised her hand. Ma'am, how many cats do you have? 10. 10 cats. Well, I'm just going to take a stab in the dark here. Single woman? You know, he would do these kind of things that I know where he's going with this. My mom was bemused. The crowd, you know, there were some laughs like that. But in the last 30 minutes, yeah, he went on for 90 damn minutes. For the last 30 of these minutes, he was in a different mode. It was, hey, let me tell you some stories. And the stories, I'm not going to give them away. I thought these were much stronger. See, he came out like this robot, like he was already on chapter 2 of, hey, Tonight Show monologue. There wasn't like a hey, how's it going, guys? It's good to be here. None of that. It was just, well, I tell you, I've heard about this stuff, Cialis. You know, it was like, Okay, we're kind of jumping into the middle of a conversation here. But, I mean, there weren't a lot of hiccups in his bit. When the mic would cut out, he kind of banged it real quick and then got it back on. Overall, it worked out pretty well. $50 a head, probably had 5,000 people in there. Really the second stand-up act I've seen, though I'll tell you, 2004, Bill Cosby, jeez, he must have had 10,000 people at Allen Fieldhouse in Lawrence, Kansas, and just destroyed. People were just falling down laughing at that one there. But, I'll tell you, I thought that Jay Leno was a perfectly good Tonight Show host. He made for a good host. He did a good job with the monologue, but when something is that workmanlike and that much on the machine schedule, yeah, of course it's not going to kill. So that's what I know about that. That's what's going on with me. But let's turn to more pressing issues here. So, the continuing demonization of white people, it has gotten to the point that we have Omarosa saying that she overheard somebody else had heard Donald Trump may have used the N-word. Oh, but we don't have a recording of that. Oh, but we still have other N-word news, don't we? The Colts. They got this guy retires 30 years as the voice of the Colts, the play-by-play guy or announcer or whatever. Name's Bob Lamey. If I'm mispronouncing that, I don't give a shit. So, he announces his resignation, and the Colts have this thing coming out. He's such a great Mr. Colt type thing, Ring of Honor, whatever, like, nothing but praise. It's a little odd to announce a resignation like this on pretty much the eve of the regular season, right? Oh, but the plot thickens. Because then today, as of this recording, it comes out that he was retelling a story that featured the N-word, and there was a black woman of color, well, I guess you don't say black woman of color, but you get the point here, who overheard the story, and oh no, her precious ears were harmed, and her life has been ruined, and she has to pass this along, and then, okay, what are we going to do, Bob? All right, we're going to have to fire you. No, how about I retire? Okay, so it's like a resignation type thing, but a bit of a save face move. Okay, yeah, we can do that. Well, the word gets out that this is the reason he retired so suddenly. And all I can think is, here is another man, another white man, doing his job for a number of years, who's now pretty much has to die as the racist guy. Oh, well, if he used this bullshit that I had to hear, Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp, I was about to say the guy that looks like a horse, that I had to hear them go through this morning. Skip. Oh, now if he gonna use the black word like that, he gonna use that word, you know what he gonna be saying at barbecue. It's like, and then Skip Bayless has to talk for 10 minutes about, I think there is nothing more deplorable than using the N-word. It's this stupid pantomime saving face. Let me make perfectly clear, I am not one of those individuals who have ever used such a word. People, this isn't freaking kindergarten. Can we get a damn backbone? Because everything is looking increasingly more pathetic out of the media. We have people who now have to act like, teacher, he said a bad word. God damn, people. There needs to be a white man somewhere, if we are so deserving of one, who stands up one day and says, you know what? The N-word's not a big deal. It's not going to happen. I mean, look at the far corner shadows of YouTube at which I have been flung to give you this information. There is no power user on even YouTube or goddamn Instagram who is going to speak up and tell you the honest truth here. Sticks and stones may break my bones, but words can never hurt me. It's that simple. If you want to put it down to this first grade mentality, do we have to make a nursery rhyme of this shit? Black people, if you want to throw around the N-word, don't mind it so much when it gets thrown around back at you. I don't really see what the problem is. And guess what? You weren't a slave. You don't know anybody that was a slave. You're so far removed from the slave stuff that hearing the N-word brought up just brings back all this imagery, and now you're traumatized. No one's buying it. This woe is me bullshit has got to stop. And if so be it, let's have a brigade of white people start using the N-word, okay? Now, people are going to act like this is all Trump's doing, that he got this all started, but let me tell you, as I've said before, mid-90s, late 90s, race relations were amazing in this country. Every white boy wanted to be Michael Jordan. Barack Obama comes in, does nothing but shoot down white people, has the most racist first lady ever, repeatedly, from her thesis at Harvard, going on about how white people are there, looking down on her, how she's succeeding despite them, to some lady not seeing that she was the first lady, just, hey, there's a tall lady over there, can she help me reach this? Oh, hey, I'm a black person, I'm a helper. She saw me as someone who's there to help her. That's my purpose. The most racist first lady America will ever have. And Donald Trump is the one to blame for black people going into the streets well before he is elected and causing riots and shit over a false narrative and how the police got reported of choking out a guy resisting arrest. All this bullshit. And white people are to blame, right? Because we might say the N-word. Oh, well, if he says the N-word, then he's obviously got like a harem of slaves in his sex dungeon. All of them mulatto. Yeah, that's it. How about it's a damn word? Let's grow up. So as I'm actually churning this out, I see this news come in over Twitter talking about the Big Bang Theory coming to an end after 12 seasons. It looks like this upcoming season is going to be the final farewell. Yeah, this was a show that at some point in its stride was one of my favorites on TV. This was ahead of the geek apocalypse curve, and it has ridden that wave to the point that it became one of the most watched shows on television. And this looks like the end of an era. This could be the last show to be the number one show on TV that is that traditional multicam, looking like Seinfeld style, looking like Roseanne style, rom-com. I'm sorry, sitcom, actually. This could be the very last one. It's looking like everybody wants to get away from that stuff. And it's looking like a lot of people don't even want to watch anything that's on TV. They want to watch the streaming content where everybody gets to be naughty. That's what they want to see. This show was out in front of the geek wave, and it had episodes that were about being a geek. It had episodes about robotics, about setting up the internet to do something stupid for them. Episodes about comic books and the like. And it became a point where everybody started to pair up. People had to get dates. They had recurring guests as those dates. And then they became boyfriend, girlfriend, and then married. And we last left off with Sheldon and Amy getting married. And it just keeps getting worse, because the show became about a bunch of women guilt-tripping their men into not doing what they wanted to do. Hey, we wanted to go to Comic-Con. Oh, but you're never there for me. I'm not into that kind of stuff. We wanted to have a girls' night thing, but you guys don't ride us for doing that. Non-stop, hey, we're in a relationship now. You have to give me some time. All of this crap people don't want to watch, people weren't watching in other shows, got integrated and put to the front of the Big Bang Theory. To the point that, hey, we want to remind you it's the Big Bang Theory, so let's just have a joke about Game of Thrones real quick. Let's just have a throwaway. Oh yeah, this is almost as bad as that time I tried to stream Game of Thrones. Do. Wow. It just kept getting worse. The show is a complete shell of itself. I think everybody in the writer's room has realized this, and they said, look, we got to wrap this shit up. Let's just skip forward to Sheldon having some kids and be gone with this. Because this upcoming season is going to be nothing but more male bashing, as we have what everybody's calling soy boys. These very beta male guys just being led astray, being whipped. It's like Passion of the Christ, the amount of whipping these guys get. Enough is enough, good riddance. So in other news, ASEA Argento, I'm pronouncing that correct, a lot of other people are not. Actress, she wants to go by director now also. She gets this prominent position with the Me Too movement. You know, we got all of our stars coming together talking about how they got harassed and all this stuff, right? Yeah, we have this going on. And she's one of the top ones there. She says, I was raped by Harvey Weinstein too. Me too, you know? Yeah, well, not so perfect now, are we? This guy comes forward, Jimmy Bennett. I think he's 22 now. He was 17 at the time of this incident. Says he was sexually assaulted. There is a selfie of him lying in bed with ASEA Argento. He's 17, and in California, the age of consent is 18, which I kind of figured it would have been pretty damn low the way people over there act. But anyways, yeah, so one of our Me Too leaders now has a bit of a problem on her hands, and she tried to pay him some hush money. This was a kid. He was in No Ordinary Family. You remember me talking about that on the Hottie and the Jerk podcast nobody listened to? You remember that? No Ordinary Family is kind of like The Incredibles on ABC. He was also in The Orphan. He was the older brother in that thing there. And you probably know him best, at least I would assume, as young James Tiberius Kirk in the 2009 Star Trek film. This guy, he's like, look, I've been out of work. I was making like $2 million a year easily, showing up in a few movies, barely reading a few things, right? Now I can't get any work, and I'm kind of, it's on you and all this, and I didn't know what to do, and there's hush money involved, and yeah, you know what? I knew from the start that the Me Too movement didn't need to be anointing ASEA Argento as a leader. You guys remember me saying this kind of shit? Because I remember me saying this kind of shit, because I was there when I said it. This is a crazy bitch who, claim to fame, is getting naked and having sex scenes in her own dad's films. Now, if you don't, what kind of wiring gets you to do that stuff? That is some kind of cult leader type shit. Oh Jesus. Yeah, this is not your shining example. This is somebody who snaked their way in, knew what they were doing, got a little bit more fame going for her to try to get up on top of this movement, and made her boyfriend crazy, and then he killed himself. Yeah, Anthony Bourdain. Shit, now I'm talking about killing and sexual assault. Yeah, this is getting demonetized, damn it. Recently, Nintendo's been cracking down on ROM sites. So they went after EMU Paradise first, then the ISO Zone, and now it looks like anywhere I turn to look for something to add to my Super Nintendo Classic, poof, it's gone. You know, just like Kaiser Soze. And like that, he's gone. Well, they want $150,000 per title hosted on the site and $2 million per copyright infringement. Here's your solution, purveyors of gaming culture and history. Here's what you do. Don't have Nintendo ROMs on your ROM site. Keep the Sega, keep the other stuff, keep Konami, Capcom, whoever else isn't causing you this shit, and just tell everybody, look, Nintendo wants to be left in the cold here. Now, look, I'm all for protecting your copyright, but are the creators of games really being rewarded for this stuff? It's really Nintendo. Look, somebody like Hideo Kojima or... shit. Now I'm forgetting his name. Well, Shigeru Miyamoto. Shigeru Miyamoto would obviously be a billionaire if it wasn't for Nintendo taking all the money from everything he created. I realize that now, in his 60s, he is like co-running the company. But imagine, I mean, this is a guy who's basically the Disney of, or the Walt Disney of video games, not becoming incredibly rich off video games. Like, just think about that. And it's not because people were illegally downloading Super Mario Brothers. That's not how he didn't become a billionaire. It's because Nintendo is a little too greedy for their own good. They pull games off of systems that there's a lack of true backwards compatibility across the board. And instead they shove out this virtual console stuff. And then they say, oh, look, that game's 30 years old. You want to play it for $10? And it's like, not really. Oh, but if you bought it secondhand in a shop, the creator is not getting their just reward, are they? Yeah, if I pick up Super Mario Brothers, Shigeru Miyamoto, and I'm telling you, I'm doing this at like a GameStop or CD Trade Post or some shit, he's not getting a buck off of this. It truly is a victimless crime after a certain point. We need to start saying, look, when a game is 20 years old, it's fair game. It needs to be out there, available to the public. The twists of the plot have been exposed, and they're up there streaming on YouTube. It is now a work of art that should be appreciated and available to the consumer, not limited to, oh, hey, we had the license run out, so now you can't play Marvel vs. Capcom 2 on the Xbox One unless you download it on the Xbox 360, to which we will allow you to re-download that again, but it's not officially on the marketplace. Yeah, it's removed from the store. Ta-da. This licensing bullshit is gotten around to the point in games where we are losing the history of video games. You could turn a kid on to a Castlevania and then be like, oh, yeah, well, this sort of setup right here, this all really starts to really kick off with something like Rondo of Blood on the PC Engine. Oh, good luck ever playing that. Now, if you go out there and you get yourself a PC Engine, and you go and you get an import official Rondo of Blood CD, the guys over, at Konami that made this, they're not making anything off of it. Buying the secondhand stuff, and they have no real reasoning behind their, oh, hey, let's get into pachinkos only and pull pretty much everything we ever made off of the marketplace. Oh, look, we put some Castlevania characters in Super Smash Brothers. Now, are you interested in Castlevania? Well, it's not available for you to download. Deal with it. If there's not a convenient, easy way to get these retro games, then they should be made available in some capacity, and if that means these people getting their copyright infringed, then so be it, damn it. Some of these companies need to get together and make a Netflix of games if they so badly need these residuals. Hey, you sign up for Game Netflix, now you can play all these games that are over 20 years old on whatever console you damn well please, and that's the way it's going to be. How about that? At least make your stuff available. Don't come crying to the fans, oh, hey, you're stealing stuff. If it wasn't available, then what'd you want us to do? Huh? Because that's what I got to say about that shit. So there you have it. It does it for the recently canceled podcast, episode 25, the free version that goes up on YouTube. If you guys are so inclined and you want to help me make more than $1 a day in these YouTube ad revenues that I get, feel free to hit up the Patreon. I believe that's www.patreon.com/Von Fry. $1 a month gets you full access You get to unlock the bonus content from the episodes that are too spicy for YouTube, though in this case, that spiciness is probably front-ended. And you can check out all the old episodes.